Okay, let's have a look at the project settings and setting Ontrax up for how you and your team like to work. So just jump into the settings tab up on the top menu. That'll bring you to your settings area. So your profile is just your personal information. Appearance is how you want to have the app look. So you've got some different theme options there. You can set the font for the app, choose your date format, and change the language. Project configurations, where we want to be. So each project can have its own configuration. So you might have different types of projects that have different configurations, or set it up to match your clients, or you might just keep it the same. So once you get it set up how you like it, then it's easy enough to just duplicate that from project to project by copying the project settings when you create a new project. So the fonts are just how text markups appear in your drawings and annotations. Your groups are how you want to arrange your files. So we've just got the 3 there, but you can rename those or add more. The roles are to do with the visibility of what various people can see. So you've got your team, which is probably everybody in your office. So you probably want them to be able to see everything, but you might not want the client to see any issues that are coming up on the building between you and the builder, or you might not want the contractor to see any financial information between the architect and the client. So we'll have a look at how to set up that visibility in a minute. The annotation types are just the different types of notes that you can put on drawings. So we've got some default types there. There's alerts, notes, issues and approvals. So again, you can rename those to whatever you want. Approvals are a little bit different because they've got this approval workflow activated already. So essentially you can send out an approval from any drawing, and that'll send an email to an approver to approve or reject and get tracked through to completion. You can add that approval workflow to any annotation type or create new ones just by using the add button there. So the visibility by role is where we match the annotation type to the role. So like we said before, there might be defects on site that you don't want the client to see, but that'll just be between the contractor and the designer. Or there might be notes that you want everybody to see, and you might want approvals to be seen by everybody. This can be a little bit overwhelming at first. The drawing viewer does tell you exactly who can see what, but to keep it easy, you might even want to just rename these to something that's a bit more user-friendly to start with. So if you just want things that only the contractor can see, then we could name that contractor. And then it's pretty self-explanatory that that annotation type is only visible to the contractor. You might want to rename the notes to all, and then everybody can see that. So have a play around with that and set it up however you like. Statuses can be customized as well. So the notes on drawings work a bit like a task tracker. So you can track issues and close them out as you need to. Tags are just an informal way to classify things too. So you might have drawings that are just in a draft form that you just want to tag to make them their own group, or you might have just a subset of drawings that the notifications are based on events that are happening in the app. So there's new annotations, comments, attachments, statuses, etc. So you probably don't want to get notified every time something happens. So you can set those to a digest, and they'll just be collated into one email. So it gives you a bit of a summary. We've got the approval set to immediate because we want them sent out and actioned as soon as possible. And then we can set the digest schedule. So say we only want it every second day at 9 a.m. You can customize that to however you like. Just jumping into the sharing tab now. So these are the people that are invited to your project. And this is where we assign the roles to individual people. So you've got the option to share by the entire workspace. So that'll be every project that is in your account, or you might just want to share individual projects. So essentially when you invite somebody, you're inviting them to that project, or you can just select a specific group of drawings, just a tag like we mentioned, and single and multiple drawings. You can then also allow view only, which means they won't be able to do anything. A comment is essentially just commenting on drawings. Contributing is being able to add annotations and things like that on the drawing. And editing is being able to change status and add drawings and a variety of other things. So essentially a full access, except no admin roles. You can then assign them to the roles that we mentioned earlier. So there's the team, the client, designer, consultant, contractor. So that is what we set up in the previous tab. So when you assign a person to a role, that's the visibility that they'll inherit. You can set the invitation or the links to expire. So if you just want short-term access or allow it forever. And then you can also allow people to reshare. So you might want everybody in your team to be able to send it out to anybody, or you might want the builder to be able to send drawings to tradies for quotes or whatever it might be. So you can turn that on or off. So turn it off if you don't want people to be able to share. And then once you've set that up, just send it out. And then once you've got people on your project, they will show up in this list. So you can see we've got a couple of people shared to that project. Jumping in the billing, just all your billing information. You can purchase overages for extra projects or extra drawings, buy more credits there. And you've also got your invoices and billing history. The AI assistant has a few settings you can customize. By default, it will search all your project documents. That again is controlled by visibility too. So if a builder only has access to certain documents and drawings, then that's the only information they'll be able to search. So we've also got web search. So that's enabled by default. So that's used when, say, somebody's looking for some information and it's not actually in your project. For example, the plumber might want the install manual for the hot water system. So we can search directly from the AI assistant and hopefully get that result. You can then set who can use the assistant. So because the assistant uses credits, you might not want everybody to be able to use it and use up the credits. So you can set that just to yourself, to everybody, or just by specific roles as well. So a few options there. You can also give it some custom instructions. So if you want it to behave in a certain way, some examples here are use Australian English, use metric units, but yeah, you can customize that however you like. You can also restrict access to information by groups and tags. So if you've got confidential information that you don't want the AI to search or you don't want anybody else to be able to find, then you can exclude certain groups or exclude tags. There's also a referrals option. So if you're interested in that, have a look at the knowledge base about referrals and affiliates. And then the notifications again. So this is just another section which summarizes all those notifications we talked about earlier. It just gives you another overview of what you can see for each project in a different view. There's also some offline settings. So Ontrax works offline if you don't have an internet connection. So just from the project itself, you can click a button to enable it for offline, and it'll download drawings and files. That's just showing you how much of the actual device storage it's using, not your actual paid storage or account storage. When you do select a project for offline, it'll show up here. You can clear all the data that's stored for the offline usage. And that's pretty much it for the project settings. So it might be a bit overwhelming at first to figure out who can see what just based on the annotation types alone. So what you can do to get started is you can rename these to match the role types if it makes it easier for you. So you can call that contractor. We've got client there. Make that one team. And now when we go to the visibility by role, we can just make it so the contractor sees the contractor, client sees client, and team just sees team. That way, you know when you're placing notes that there's no confusion about who can see what. Once you get the hang of it, though, you'll be able to know what everybody can see, and you can also just refer to this at any time.